In this video, we're going to talk about the Shopper Histogram report. This is going to allow you to look at the distribution of specific metrics across various households that purchase your brand or category. You'll find the Shopper Histogram report in the Shopper module. So our Mad Lib statement in the Shopper Histogram report is, what was the distribution of purchase behavior metrics for a specific product during a specific time period? For today's example, we're going to look at Arm & Hammer cat litter. So in my product is generally reserved for brand, I'm going to put in Arm & Hammer. I'm going to select my Arm & Hammer parent brand. Then in my category, I want to select cat litter. When it populates, select the cat litter category. Our date range is going to be the latest 52 weeks. In the advanced options, we're not going to change much for the example. We're going to use the default of removing any massive outliers. If you click in here though, you do have the option of leaving them in, but it will let you know that you might see some very large outliers here. We're going to keep the default of removing the outliers. We could put a people group in, but we're not going to today. We are going to put a store in, and we're going to look at Petco. And I'm going to select the retailer Petco. Everything else we're going to keep the same, so then we can hit run. Now when this report comes back, it's pretty easy to read. Think of this as just one big scorecard. So we have a variety of metrics that we can look at here. We won't go through all of them, but let's start with the total item spend per household. So what this report does is it creates buckets. Unfortunately, you can't choose your own buckets. The system will determine that for you, but we'll be able to see in the last 52 weeks the total item spend per household of Arm & Hammer cat litter. So we can see it goes from $15 all the way up. The best practice here though would be to look at the percent of households and the cumulative percent of households. So if I were to see here 80% of households are spending less than $50 in our time period on Arm & Hammer cat litter, but that leaves 20% of our households that are purchasing Arm & Hammer cat litter and spending more than $50 per household on our total item spend. Let's take a look at total item units. Again, we can see about 58% of the households, 59% of the households are purchasing less than 2, but then we have 7% of households that are purchasing 5 or more. Then we could even look at average item spend per unit per household, which will roughly get us to how much they're spending each time they purchase a unit. So it looks like the max here, 20%, almost 21% of households are spending roughly $15.50 to $17 per unit on Arm & Hammer cat litter. But we also have about 18% of shoppers who are spending at least $18.50 per unit. We can also look at average item spend per trip. So we know that 20% roughly were spending more than $18.50. But this shows about 20% of people spending more than $20 per trip, meaning a lot of times people might be purchasing more than 1 unit per trip. So you can click through the metrics, see how data changes. If you go to the Help Center article by clicking in the top right corner, you'll be able to see not only what questions you can answer with this report, but then you'll have the list of all the definitions and calculations for each one of those metrics. So know that those are out there for you in case you get a little confused. That's it for the Shopper Histogram. Super easy to run. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us with our Insights chat.